funeral DJ services.
Oh, it's funny to me, man.
Have you had a loved one die? What's up? What's up? What's up? 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Don't forget, hit that like button. Daily Smoke, I'm Brother Los.
Brother Jam.
Brother Ron.
Brother Blackhand.
Brother Blackhand on the cam in the back as always. Thank y'all for joining us.
Absolutely.
Today is Monday. Everybody feeling good?
Yeah,
it's
man.
Columbus Day. Or
Happy Indigenous Day.
no, Happy
Indigenous Day,
Indigenous Day. You know,
Yeah.
like what's so indigenous about this? Okay, we're celebrating them contributing their lives and land for us to be where we're at. Is that what we're celebrating?
It's at least acknowledging them rather than the person who's responsible for so many of their deaths. So
Right.
That's at this point, that's about the best you can do.
Right. And
Yeah.
the sad part is he never even made it over here.
Right.
You know, that's why it's called America. Some other dude came here. He found all the islands.
Yeah,
and shit like
he
that.
hit the Caribbean
Yeah,
first.
he never came here, you know. He hit the Caribbean. Them boys were on them boats for all that time with no women. They saw no Indian girls. They were like, woo wee, and brought syphilis and everything else with them. Like, damn.
Did Cleveland win this weekend?
I think they did. Give me the thing, the remote. We have the wrong thing up. Yeah, I think they did.
Really?
I want to say they did.
We obviously have some Cleveland fans.
Yeah. Well, and
Up
that's
in here.
Danny. He's up from up that way, right?
Yeah, man.
Danny said,
Yeah.
that's cool. Yeah. So they did get their win. I think they did win. Get who they played with that. Yeah, they won. They played decent game.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
what's up.
Okay, so yeah, Cleveland
Dude,
Brown fans.
Been
out
talking
there. Hey,
noise.
My
Okay.
Steelers got
Ain't mad
pounded.
at him. Ain't mad at
I
him.
mean, hey, if
My
you won,
Steelers
you
got
won.
beat up.
They got beat up.
Hell yeah, I think 31-3. It said Buffalo tore their
For
ass
real.
up. Yeah.
Okay, y'all know I'm not a sports fan, but do anybody even give a shit about the Texans? I don't know. I'm asking.
I don't.
Okay. I don't even know how they doing or what they doing. I
Me
haven't
neither.
heard nothing.
Me neither.
Okay.
Yo, that's
I was
true,
curious.
man. Your people from Dallas is coming. They want to be on the show.
Yes. Yes. A couple of guests of ours they're my cousins, and she wanted to come down here with her husband to promote one of their books,
Okay.
Ooh,
Okay.
fun.
and she wanted to like bring it out and let everyone, use
This
our
is real
platform,
family.
bring that exactly. This is real family, But she and her husband had some brilliant, beautiful young minds, and I can't wait till they come here, man.
Nice.
It's gonna be in about 2 weeks.
That'll be great.
Nice.
That'll be
Looking forward
great.
to
We'll
that.
be
Beautiful young
watching. Hey,
minds.
we're looking forward to that. We're always looking forward to when anybody comes because we enjoy people coming here and talking to us and us getting to meet you. That's we really get to see when you talk about whatever it is you're talking about. We already kind of know where you're at because we've met you and we mingled for a few minutes.
Right.
So we kind of our mindsets already know that you're not coming sideways or some shit.
It's like I
Right.
tell everybody who comes, it's like after the first 5 minutes, you forget the camera even there, and you just sitting on the couch talking to us.
Exactly.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So,
So,
yeah.
Unless
If
you
you
don't
out
sit there
there,
and look at the camera the whole time. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I wrote a book.
if
Yeah.
you out there, and you've been thinking, man, they always say that, but like, can I go on the show? Yes.
Yes. Anyone can be on
You
this
can
show.
come on the show.
Just
We-
don't do no bullshit.
Speaking of which, man, we got a couple of sponsors we need to give a shout out to.
Oh yeah, sure. No, I would forget that shit. But hey, we know they know already. Banging 832 Radio, www.banging832.com. You can find episodes of the Daily Smoke 7 p.m. on Sundays. I don't know if anything's been playing or not, but on a Sunday at 7 o'clock, you can check that out. Plus, they have other stuff. They're a radio station. So go check them out. All that, like I always say, that chopping food shit that they like to listen to. So they do that. And then, of course, we have our very own, to me, it's Touch of Care Massage Therapy. To get with life, get a massage.
Touch my body.
And we like to
That's
say,
my post-COVID voice.
I'm gonna let you have a solo this time.
Yes, man.
right.
I
So,
can't get my hot dogs no more.
right. And then the one we had been talking about, I just want to talk about right quick. Y'all missed Uchi Chagalia 4.
Yeah.
Y'all missed some good conversation. Y'all
Man.
missed some good interaction. Y'all should have been there. It was we had a really good time. It was
fun.
nice. We had fun. Everybody was interacting just right. According to our own lady D, she feels like, hey, she learned some shit from this.
I mean, really, when you start breaking down like some of those relationship dynamics, is you kind of can't help but be fascinated because you see it everywhere. Whether you're talking about your friends, whether you're talking about your coworkers, whether you're talking about your family, those are interpersonal dynamics, and they apply across so many different scenarios. So once you start learning about that kind of stuff, man, you really find it useful in just all the different places and ways you can apply it.
It'd been nice to see a lot more people there. Like the people I'm saying,
Telling
y'all
y'all.
missed it.
And that damn fried chicken was on point.
That chicken
Yes,
was
it
good.
was.
Shit, we had some Joyce's chicken.
Yes,
You got it right there,
was.
MLK and color.
Yes.
That chicken was on point, and she had chicken and waffles, man. I'm
Yes,
telling you, that was
Lord.
I enjoyed that immensely.
We had a good time, and
Yes, we
the
did.
venue was nice. Everything was good. You feel the same? You had a good time?
Absolutely, absolutely.
That was my first time being in the what was it called? The name of that place? It was a theater.
Yeah, I forgot the name of it, but yeah, I know
Midtown
what you mean.
Arts Center.
Midtown Arts Center.
Yeah,
That's what I was
we
trying
I'd
to
always heard it, never
Yeah,
been there.
that was my first time ever
That was
being
real
there.
nice,
But man,
man.
that place is nice. You
Yeah.
know,
Real nice.
it's low key, but that gives it some flavor. It's a nice little venue.
Hey, y'all might see us selling tickets to come see us live at this art center because the setup was it was already black and red.
Yeah,
Everything. Was
yeah,
we
yeah.
had half the set already set up.
I thought that.
Yeah, it was already black.
we
and
all
red.
thought it when we
My
walked
mind.
in. Yeah,
Yeah, yours too.
Already, that's
Yeah.
why I said, man, this would be perfect. Put the couches here, got the audience up above. Y'all can come, ask questions. So be on the lookout for that because that's something we're going to be really wanting to do an actual live show. What's that?
I ain't moving your couch, break my back.
We're moving the couch. We can get everything up in there. So be paying attention for that because we're really trying to bring that to you. So www.dailysmoke.com is where you'll find everything about us. So make sure y'all check that out. And then we gotta redo this. So don't forget the Buy Black Market at the Shrine of the Black Madonna. Yeah, this shit ain't here no more, man. I fucked up, So make sure y'all go check out the Buy Black Marketplace and vendor book and art fair at the Shrine of Black Madonna at 5309 MLK Boulevard here in Houston. It's free to the public every first and third Saturday from 12 to 6 p.m. I don't even know why I'm looking at this shit. We already know this. We've been doing this shit for months.
Got to memorize, but
With that commentary, be killing
That's
it.
what I'm saying. So don't forget, man, check that out. If y'all have something you want to sell, take it there. It's all black owned. Or just go and buy some shit. You're helping out the community. And they do a lot more than just this. So if you know the Shrine of Black Madonna, you know what they do. So make sure y'all check them out. And then the other thing we have is make sure y'all tune in on November 10th, 7 o'clock.
Yes.
I say 7 o'clock Eastern,
Yeah.
Houston time. I don't know what it is your time, but
Yes.
make sure y'all tune in. And that will be the episode of Long Live the Arts as our very own wordmatician, Tiffany Scales, interviews her special guest, American poet, writer, commentator, activist, and educator, the Nicki Minaj. I'm not Nicki Minaj. I can do that shit. Nicki Giovanni and shit. My bad.
Nicki Minaj?
Nicki Minaj is not a poet. She's not a writer. She's not, all she is a booty. So yeah, my bad. And if you're watching Miss Giovanni, my bad. Like I said, hey, I'm 420 and over here and shit.
goddamn.
So make sure y'all tune in for that.
That was funny.
I gotta throw in some TGI so often, so keep it light and crispy up in here. So make sure y'all tune in for that day. And as always, www.thedailysmoke.com, THA.com. You can find out everything, all our upcoming events, You can find out everything about us. You can even find out if Nicki Minaj is gonna be here too. On this taking up half the couch, you see all that movie.
No, we mean no disrespect.
We don't. No, that was just like I
that really
said.
was a live real time.
That was just a clip,
I
right?
was high. Yeah, I was even looking at the name, and it just like I wasn't thinking that. So
No
you know,
disrespect.
no disrespect at all.
No disrespect.
So,
But that was real.
If
As
she
we said, we get
if
real
she
up
watch
in
it, I think even she'd probably get a laugh.
like okay, he's high.
You know,
Yeah, so
killing
again,
the
and then if
game,
you want to
boy.
donate to us, make sure y'all go to Cash App, $TD Smoke. We've been telling y'all this forever. And again, this is a live show, so we want you to call in. What is it? 281-968-1029 is the number. Make sure you call in. Again, you know, hopefully our shit works, you know, but sometimes it don't. But y'all know this if you've been with us since the beginning. Our shit's gotten a lot better. So make sure y'all call in, and you might want to actually be part of this conversation today. Make sure you chat with us if you have questions, anything, whatever you have, let us know. Either call in or chat with us so that we know. Don't tell us after the show. After the show is too late. We need to know now.
Yeah.
You know, so make sure y'all do that. So
Ron brought us an interesting subject this time.
right.
interesting subject, isn't it?
It is. I first kind of became familiar with the subject around the what is it, the BDS movement? If you're familiar with that, it was boycott, demonstrate, and something else against Israel
Okay.
because of the atrocities that they were committing in Palestine. And I was hearing people talk about this because they were saying like there was some law that was getting passed where it was going to basically make it in certain circumstances, like if you was doing it at work or like a college or something like that, it was illegal to protest Israel. And I was like, wait a minute, what?
I can protest my own country, but not some other country.
Right.
Come on now.
We passing laws against protesting for what another country is doing. So there was, long story short.
No,
'cause
you're right. You're dead on it.
I
You're
heard
dead
about,
on it.
I heard about this thing, this BDS movement, and I didn't know what it was. And so, of course, looking into it, then that's when I first was introduced to the term, at least to my political understanding of the term,
Yeah,
a Zionist or an anti-Zionist.
yeah, yeah.
You know, and I was like, oh, wait, I didn't know that was a thing.
Right.
So this movement was for
Right.
these laws, to make these laws.
No, it was
They were
against the
against
law.
this,
It was
okay.
against it. Yeah.
Okay.
So they was trying to get people to boycott and divest from Israel because there's so much American money tied up over there in business deals and weapon deals
Sure.
and all this other stuff
Sure.
that nobody wants that cash to stop flowing back and forth.
Sure.
And so that's the reason why you get that odd support that really doesn't make much sense from the American government to Israel.
So the first thing you have to do when wanting to understand what's going on right now in the state of Israel, you have Jews and you have these people on the other side of the wall, and they're fighting each other. And you're trying to figure out, how did this start? Because that'll tell you,
Right.
you know, how we got to where we are right now. And I don't think a lot of people are aware of how we even got to Israel.
Right.
Because you have to understand, like, these people, and this is a broad overview, but we're going to go into a very specific part of it. But what I want you to really focus on is you got a whole lot done in a whole little time.
Mhm.
You were just being persecuted, and now you're a world power player,
Right. How you do that fast?
right? So you have a presence. You know what I mean? Okay. If you speak out against the actions of that presence that we know as the people that have established Israel as a state as it is today, when they start to behave in ways that is unbecoming of a civilized group, if you start criticizing that behavior, then what they hear is you're talking bad against my religion.
It got nothing to do with your religion.
You're coming at me because of I'm Jewish.
No,
Because of my beliefs, yeah.
You're coming at me because you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
If you believe in that Zionist shit, then yeah, that's why I'm coming at you. It got nothing to do with
But
you
they're
being
trying to
Jewish.
conflate the two.
Yeah, no, that's
Exactly.
crazy. That don't make no sense.
And we're not under Jonathan. I think you would agree with me. People are not aware of what they're doing when they're conflating the two.
Right.
Explain in more detail what you meant.
So, okay. The way I understand it is you have Israel, which of course is a nation founded, run, and built for a Jewish population. So you have this state of Israel, but the land that they took over, from what I understand, was already occupied when they took it over by these Palestinians. And
49.
you get a conflict in between these two groups. Like you said, there's groups on each side of the wall fight. So because of that, the atrocities that the Israeli government is committing against the Palestinian population over there, you have people who are against Israel.
Mhm.
And those are the people who are considered anti-Zionist, because the idea behind the whole Zionism is that the Jews have a right to return to this particular piece of land because that's their historical homeland. And I won't even argue that point. Y'all there. But you're committing these atrocities against this other group of people. You're doing exactly to them what was done to y'all.
But you don't want us to remember.
Right.
You know, but
But
you're doing the same
you
shit.
want to pretend like, but you want us to look at you and say, okay, but I can't criticize you because of your religion.
Right.
That's not the problem. We're criticizing you because as a government, you're acting in foul ways.
Right.
As a political entity, you're fucking up.
A movement for the reestablishment. Say that again. A movement for the reestablishment and development and protection of a Jewish nation in what is now Israel. Zionism was established as a political organization in 1897. Out of that mind state, you have a group of people saying, man, look, now in this part of the conversation, y'all, they're absolutely correct. They came to me like, look, and I'm like literally summing up a whole lot of stuff.
Right.
They're like, look, man, historically, we have been given a really raw deal.
Right.
Wherever we go to Germany, we go to, Hungary or whatever, wherever we go to Prussia, you know what I mean? People start messing with us. So now, what we're going to do, this is in 1897, we're going to start promoting the political idea that there should be a place for Jews and predominantly Jews in the world because of their religious claims.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Now, if you look at in the early 1900s, in the name of, fighting for the West during World War I, wherever Western expansion went, you had Jews that would go there because they was trying to reestablish themselves, had their own way of life. They start out as insignificant people, you know what I mean? Settlers or whatever. No special, anything afforded them any differently than anyone else. You know what I mean? So they was there. You start seeing like Hold on one second. I want to say this right. I lost my thought.
Don't you love it?
That hit me. I lost my thought. Oh, yeah. They was establishing their right to the land because this is what my forefathers, way back in the days of David, all that kind of stuff, right? That's what they did. That's what they established.
No, I'm not arguing the point.
You know,
I'm just saying, but yeah,
that's their history.
makes okay.
That's their history. That's what made Jews Jews. Okay, that's their history. So I had to immediately look up, well, who were Jews? And the first people they're going to go to is Ashkenazi.
Yeah.
Then you're going to look at people that were called Sephardic.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, Safford. That's Ashkenazis.
What's
Absolutely.
up, Mr. Horn?
What's up, bro? Sephardic.
So black people though,
Yes.
or black people.
Well, here's the deal. See, I learned something new looking for something else.
Okay.
This is what I learned. They have numbers of different groups that make up Jews. But the Ashkenazi Jews, that they started out as a relatively insignificant group within a specific set of Judaism back around early 1100 AD, and they started growing. And so now it's so many of them that 80% of all Jews throughout the world are Ashkenazi Jews.
Okay.
Or you got the Sephardic Jews behind them, and so forth and so forth and so forth. Okay.
So, just to make sure I'm following along. So these are basically just different sects.
These are
of
different
Jews.
sects. But what you're dealing with and what you're referring to when you're thinking about Jews, that's Ashkenazi Jew.
Okay.
When you think about Israel, that's Ashkenazi Jew. It's not the Jews that's in Ethiopia. That's Ashkenazi Jew you think about.
Okay.
What you see right now.
So-
You with me?
Same faith, just different.
Same faith, different branch, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But here's the crazy part.
Luther.
Ashkenazi is an ancient word for German.
That's crazy.
There,
Jewish is German.
and for recorded history purposes, I couldn't find anything of this group that tied them to original Jews. I could not find any documentation
There is none.
that tied them, right? Okay. That same group is the group that, and I can't front, I think they get a bad rap on many levels, but that Ashkenazi Jew, that's those are Europeans.
Mhm.
Those are
They come
Europeans.
from the barbarians.
And did you know that Yiddish, if I'm not mistaken, Los, because I knew you would know
Sounds
this.
like German to me.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken.
It sounds like German to me.
So everything that you're looking, I could find. So everything that you're tying in to this particular sect of Judaism, that's a European. That's a European.
So is this a group that like adopted Judaism
Exactly.
someplace way back in history,
Exactly.
and then just kind of
Grew
they grew
Exactly.
in Europe?
Exactly.
in German.
So they have
Exactly.
no real ancestral claim to the.
I personally, and I could not see any documentation placing this particular group, which means German, and they even say, hey, they developed some of them in the Middle East and they made their way north and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I couldn't find anything that gave them the right to that identity with the original Jewish faith. You follow me?
So would that have been the Sapphic sect?
So, Sephardic means,
Sephitic, I'm sorry.
because I may be pronouncing it wrong. We got the Ashkenazi, tra-la-la, yeah. Sephardic, that's it, Sephardic. Sephardic.
Okay.
That means Spain.
So there.
And the reason they're Sephardic Jews is because Sephardic Jews means Spaniards. And you had a whole lot of Spanish Jews, major players in European history that covers Spain and the Mediterranean and the Middle East. You understand what I'm saying? So you have that group, but they're much, much, much smaller.
Okay.
They're much, much, much smaller. Okay. Now, the reason it's important to have to understand all that is because these people have, by definition, how they identify themselves. They're a political, racial classification, but they don't necessarily have to adhere to Judaism. So I can be a Jew, but not have to adhere to Judaism. Have to be, we don't have to make it a religious thing. If we want to talk it like more politically, then I can be a Jew without all the other connotations that come along with it. The reason I'm making that point is because whenever you see people attacking these Jews, you're thinking that they're attacking them because of their religion.
Right.
That's not what's going on.
Right.
I don't think that way myself.
That's not what's going
I
on.
don't think that way either.
Because these people and their history have moved very deviously toward a lot of people in history financially. If we're going to talk
That's where all
ethnic
the-
and be, if we're going to be,
That's where all them stereotypes come from.
but that's where all the stereotypes come from. But they're making that money because they're taking advantage of the situation.
Right.
We'll call those the early capitalists.
Mhm.
Right? Okay. So those people make sure that the Zionist idea or philosophy that there should be a state specifically for Jews, whether God say so or whether it's because we have rights to that land or we have money, whatever, we need some land.
But that don't make sense. And the reason you couldn't find nothing of the history is because you say you're from here, but everything around you,
Not at the beginning of the Dark Age. That's when they start measuring it.
you know, but back then, the area they want, it's all brown people, and you're just gonna come out of nowhere. You say you're from here? No,
They're the
no,
Spaniards.
no,
That's why that's apart.
you know, that don't make no
Sephardic.
sense. You know, even the Spaniards weren't brown people.
Well,
Spaniards
after the
were
wars, they was a
Europeans.
little bit browner than they were.
Right,
They were
right. In
Europeans.
terms of how we look at the Mediterranean back then,
that,
you know what I
that,
mean?
that whole
But
area.
but regardless of whether you're from Ashkenazi, whether you're Ashkenazi, you know, you're from the European part, because it just literally means Germany,
Mm-hmm.
or whether you go with the Sephardic, there's a rise of anti-Zionism again, because people are protesting their ability to have that right to that land.
Mm-hmm.
We protest your ability to have that land because there were other people there.
Right, and you're doing to them, you know, you're
And
committing
now-
atrocities to them people.
These Zionists, your mere presence there offsets everything. I'm not even saying they should. Did you know that? And I wrote this down. This is how important this was, y'all. I mean this. This dude said, okay. This is very important. I'm sorry, I had to stop. They're okay. I'm sorry, y'all. I can.
Next time we're gonna need you to use a highlighter.
I know, right? Right. Oh, here we go. Here we go. In 1885, there was a movement of Jews against that Zionist thought. And they said, we consider ourselves no longer a nation, but a religious community. And expect neither a return to Palestine nor the restoration of any of the laws concerning the Jewish state. The reason they was making that argument was because they was like, hey, look, if we're going to have our own state, it's going to be because the Messiah going to come back, and that's how we're going to get the land or
We're not
whatever.
just gonna
But
take
till
it
he
and
come back,
fuck it.
we got no rights to this land.
That's their shit. That's right.
We recognize that there were people there.
See, and I'm sorry. That's what I was gonna say. That's what I've been thinking this whole time. You know, hey, I'm Game of Thrones fan. You know,
You know,
I will sit back and watch. But if my people conquer your people, it's no longer your land.
That's true.
if
That's true.
Y'all, and I'm just talking about like land
That is
ownership.
true.
Right. So if y'all weren't here for whatever reason, and my people was, it's not your land anymore.
Okay.
You're not entitled to it anymore
Okay.
unless you come take it by force. That's
what
how
they
it's
did.
always done.
So
That's what they did
So-
in 1949. They went took it by force.
we have
with
to
our help.
remember how they got the ability to even become Israel. Like, they were decimated after World War II. And all of a sudden, you receive what Zionist political thought has been trying to do over the last God knows how many thousands of years.
They gave it to
You gave them the Jewish state.
right, and they used and the reason
Whether
why
whether
they
it's because
got
God said so, or whether it's because the UN said so, you know what I mean? You took a people that had no nation state of their own
it, right,
up until 1949. And
and
now,
that was what 4 or 5 years after World War II ended.
yeah, no, or 1940, yes, absolutely, yes,
Four
yes,
years
yes,
of you
absolutely.
coming from this
Absolutely.
dissemination, this part. 4 years later, you got a state.
There were people, Los, you're so brilliant. There were people already there that, because whoever said so, whether UN or whether God, whatever, a whole bunch of these Jews started coming in, but they had to live somewhere, they had to work somewhere, they had to eat somewhere, they came into an infrastructure and displaced all the people that was already there, the rights and accesses to the resources thereof.
Pushed them into their own little sections
Because they had the
West
power to
Bank
do
and
so,
the other
backed by, the
money they was
UN.
getting from the UN and
Absolutely.
all of that stuff. Yeah.
And I think under normal situations, man, we'd be like, you know what, cool, we ain't tripping or whatever. That's, all is fair in love and war. But here's what makes this a problem, and this is what people are protesting
Right.
when they say I'm against Zionism.
right away. Oh, you don't like Jews?
You got put into a situation that the world was sympathetic to,
Right.
only for you to turn right back around and do the same exact thing
To those people.
to those Native Americans that was living all throughout America.
Right.
Boom, get up out of here.
You did the same.
All of those Arabs already in Palestine, they was calling Palestine. Even when you read the documents, should they live in Palestine or not? Should we send them to Uganda?
Right.
Part of my friends, niggas in the Uganda said, no, don't bring them here.
Right.
Because that was going to be the new state of Israel. The Uganda.
No, that would have been even worse.
The Uganda, and everything that you saw happen in the Middle East to the Arabs in Palestine was about to happen in the Uganda.
Wow.
So everything that has happened, just put it into Uganda.
They figured, fuck it, let's take it from that
Kenya.
motherfucker.
That's what they had in mind.
Let's take his utopia and make it our shit.
They went to Israel because of one reason only. The Jews from Russia said, hell no, I ain't going to Uganda.
Right.
If we're going to go anywhere, we're going to go back to Israel
To where
or nowhere,
our
because
right
we're
is
going to find ourselves back in the same position we was in that got us in the situation to begin with.
Right.
Yeah.
Well played. So they moved to Israel
Plus all the Bible
and
stuff
kicked
that's
all
there.
of those Arabs out of there.
Right. Put them in little corners of the land.
There are people that have ancestral rights to this land. So when you hear people saying, hey man, Israel is behaving unseemingly, it's not that people are dealing with the fact that you're on the land as much as it is the way you're treating these people in the land.
Right.
Right.
And the way that you're behaving, you Ashkenazi Jews, the way you're behaving, you behave the same exact way in South Africa.
Right.
Yeah.
It was different. It was different people then. I'm not saying Jews was a part of that,
Right.
but that same mind,
Right.
that same
that
thinking.
European mind.
Take your shit.
You understand what I'm saying?
European
that
mind,
that, that
yeah.
European
Take your
mind.
shit and make
You
it
start seeing it behave.
It's that
In-
colonial
in South
colonial
Africa.
mindset. Like, I'm just gonna come in, take your shit,
and it'd be mine
and
from now on.
and it's mine because I said it's mine.
You know
And
what I
then I'm
mean?
gonna look at you crazy for trying to say that I'm wrong for taking it from you.
Exactly.
Right.
And now, if you protest the state of Israel, because think about how that looks, they always default to Well, you know how they was treated because of the Holocaust,
You know,
right?
Yeah.
Bobby,
Should it-
would
that
you
was
please
okay.
play the clip?
Let them know what they're about to see.
We're about to watch a clip from a gentleman,
Jewish man.
a Jewish man, that gives a factual account of what happened with his family in the Jewish Holocaust.
Right. That's it. And why you can't stump with him.
When you're sitting in the audience and somebody goes on for an hour and a half saying things that you find utterly loathsome, repulsive, and also you think factually incorrect. And I think people should have more than 60 seconds. As I said, I'll leave it to the patience of the audience. When you feel it's going on too long, you know how to express your disapproval. Otherwise, they should be allowed to go on. Go ahead.
Hi. During your speech, you made a lot of references to Jewish people as well as certain people in your audience, not Jewish people in general, but certain people, especially in your audience, to Nazis. Now, that is extremely offensive when certain people are German. And they're also extremely offensive to people who've actually suffered under Nazi rule.
I don't respect that anymore. I really don't. I don't like and I don't respect the crocodile tears to the crocodile tears. No. I'm sorry, folks. Allow me to finish and allow me to finish. Listen, sir. Allow me to finish. Allow me to finish. Sir. I don't like to play before an audience the Holocaust card. But since now I feel compelled to. My late father was in Auschwitz. My late mother, please shut up. My late father was in Auschwitz. My late mother was in Majdanek concentration camp. Every single member of my family, on my father's side,
the Jews did not take arms against the
my late
Germans.
father was in Auschwitz concentration camp. My late mother was in Majdanek concentration camp. Every single member of my family on both sides was exterminated. Both of my parents were in the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. And it's precisely and exactly because of the lessons my parents taught me and my two siblings that I will not be silent when Israel commits its crimes against the Palestinians. And I consider nothing more despicable than to use their suffering and their martyrdom to try to justify the torture, the brutalization, the demolition of homes that Israel daily commits against the Palestinians. So I refuse any longer to be intimidated or browbeaten by the tears. If you had any heart in you, you would be crying for the Palestinians, not for what's been done. What?
Could I just calm the audience down?
I've never been in a crowd like this. They're nuts.
I hear him exactly, man.
That's the point.
I'm feeling it. It makes so much
deep.
sense.
That is the
I
point.
say that all the time when
That's deep.
and I'm not being like I said. I'm not anti-Jew.
Right.
I'm anti-Israel. And if you're gonna put that because I'm anti-Israel, I'm anti-Jew. No. I'm not against the ones that their religion part. No, but these mugs are doing the same shit that was done to them that they want me to not forget. Every year they make sure that I do not forget this shit, but you're doing it to these people. You know, you're not from that area. So you took their shit and now you're doing it to them, but you don't want to talk about that.
But
You know,
it's like, but you don't even want to try and coexist. You only want to dominate. That's why I say it's that European mindset.
right. And
You know what I'm saying?
that's so much more knows that
But it makes
you're not from here.
makes so much sense when you know that history.
Right, and you know you're not from here.
What I'm going to be very. This is very mean what I'm about to do, and it's true. But it's kind of mean.
I'm good with mean if it's
But
true.
it is true what I'm about to say.
Okay.
But it is mean.
Go for it.
So the reason why I personally wanted to find out where these particular sects where they were from, because I want to know where you came from. And when I realized that your names aren't the names of the people that when we read about our heroes in our Bibles, when we read about our heroes in our Torahs, Qurans, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, you're an anglicized version of something.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
You just like a lot of the, like, say, the stereotypical Jewish last names, you know,
Right.
the Finkelsteins, the
Right.
What was that
Goldbergs.
guy's name?
You're right. That's why I said it.
Dr.
But
Finkelstein.
the Finkelsteins, the Goldbergs,
Right.
all of those are German and Polish names.
Right.
Those aren't Middle Eastern names or back then. What did they speak? It was Hebrew. You know, Hebrew, which is in some ways kind of close to Aramaic, but they have names that sound like that. Why do you think there's names like Ibrahim in the Bible and stuff like that? Those names are the even the types of names that you would have if you were tied to that land would be different.
You're not from there. You took somebody else's identity. It became
When I was reading upon the differences between the two Sephardic and the Ashkenazi and the other differences, what I found interesting was when I was learning about that group, I didn't know how much history I was reading versus how much propaganda that I was reading. Because I started reading now a story about some people saying why this group of people should have had certain such and such rights to whatever land or whatever, like I started questioning. You know what I'm saying? What I'm looking at now.
You have to.
But you have such a politically loaded situation.
I know
because of the way the argument's being made.
I know.
So what you have, and one of the things that I was looking at was talking about this too, is what you have online, and especially online, I should say, is a lot of people conflate. They'll start off as being anti-Zionist,
right?
But then, just like anything else on the internet, it's a rabbit hole. You start going down that path, the next thing you know, you can get pulled into some anti-Semitism.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And so.
Right.
There is a pipeline, you could say, between those two subjects because they're so closely related. But if people understand, and I get now why you say this was an important conversation to have.
Absolutely.
So if people understand the difference between being against Zionists,
right,
versus against Jews, which is a whole different conversation.
Whole different conversation.
But if you can be anti-Zionist without being an anti-Semitic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was almost be like saying, I don't like capitalists. Oh, you don't like capitalists? Catholics? No, capitalists.
Right.
They're the same people. No, they're not.
Right.
That's two different things. You know?
Like
these are the ones about money. This is all religion. That's two different things.
Like you might have a lot of Catholics who are capitalists, but that don't mean that all Catholics are.
Right. So why not say to me, oh man, I don't like Jews. Oh, you don't like Zionists? Why don't you say that instead? Because if it's the same shit,
so many ways.
if you're saying it backwards, then why doesn't it work that way? If I say, no, I don't like Jews, your reply would be, you don't like Zionists, not like, oh, I don't like Zionists. Oh, you don't like Jews? You know, same shit.
If somebody say they don't like Jews, they probably really don't like Jews.
Right?
And
Got
see,
nothing to do with Zionists.
The way that, the reason why we have to contrast Zionism Notice how we've been going on and on about Zionism.
Right, right.
And now, how does that relate to, anti-Semitism? Because there's a rise in anti-Semitism
right now.
globally. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you all think what's going on?
It's because of what they're doing over there in Israel, not because of their religion shit.
I think,
Half the time we don't care about that no more.
well, okay, and it's kind of combines a few things, but if you think about it, one of the things that's prevalent right now, I think we can all agree, is conspiracy theories.
Absolutely.
Every time you turn around, there's a new one.
Absolutely.
Did you know that this and that, and they put chlorine
Absolutely.
and whatever, and all of this, and it's gonna kill you, and whatever.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah, absolutely.
but we get the point.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, in a lot of the major conspiracy theories, in a lot of the big ones out there, even QAnon and stuff like that, these that have millions and millions of people believing in it or supporting it in some form or fashion. A lot of the big conspiracy theories out there tie back to Jews, or
crazy.
they blame Jews as being the source of these different conspiracy theories and stuff like that. And so with the prevalence of that kind of origin, it's like, okay, so you start going down this rabbit hole of I'm just using QAnon as an example because that's one that I'm sure probably everybody's familiar with, especially if you watch the show because we did a show about QAnon. But anyway, so if you go down the rabbit hole of QAnon, you might get into it because you're hearing about, they abusing children or they mistreating children, and we need to stop this and we need to do something about this. And then as you go down that rabbit hole, it eventually leads you, well, you know who's ultimately behind all of it.
See,
But that's what you had said, though. What you had said where, you secretly are fucking with shit. Everybody's stuff.
see, here's the deal. So, in reading, looking up the history of all this, where's anti-Semitism come from? Understand that at one point in time, recently, up until maybe the late 1890, somewhere from there, times were so hard, and people, and they had been getting a real raw deal as Jews
Right.
in a whole lot of different countries. And at the end of the day, some money was involved. I get all that. But at the end of the day, in those situations, it was because you were Jewish. I find it ironic you control most of the finances, but such a short, small amount of individuals, you know what I mean? There are there are 10 million Jews in all of Israel. And there are only about, maybe worldwide, you have about maybe 6-7 million more dispersed. You still have the small number of people. Okay. With a presence. I forgot my thought, John. Oh, and John, it's because of that. To discredit the Jews, they went through a really hard time. People started putting conspiracies on them,
Right.
and then started trying them against the conspiracies they put on them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They said, okay, now that's a part of being a Jew. That's what, you know what I mean? It was a real cool. It was a conspiracy. You know what I mean? To say nothing short, because Jews didn't have the characteristics that Europe was trying to put on them at that time as being Jews.
Right. They didn't have the power.
They didn't have the power.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm with you, John. I don't buy into the conspiracy and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
I don't. And it's very important that people don't. But this is not conspiracy what we're talking about.
Right. This is facts.
These are numbers.
Yeah.
And so when you look at, if you boil it down to money, and you look at how money's related to everything, you have a total number of just, in the state of Israel, there are 10 million people in a country that can wipe out the entire Middle East.
That's like Houston.
By themselves.
Yeah, that's
By
crazy.
themselves.
I think I read somewhere they say the entire country of Israel is like the size of like Long Island or some shit.
By themselves.
Just the thought of 10 million people. That's just about New York City.
By
But
themselves.
all
But
of New York City
they're
controls.
nuclear power.
I know.
So you have a country like this that was founded out of their own. They were oppressed. They was exterminated. They had a bad deal, man. You know, one of the worst ever in history. And that's why they gave them the land.
Almost.
You know, and almost exactly, and exactly. They gave them a situation where they could go ahead and start their own thing, only for you to turn right around and become the very individuals that you was just a victim as. And when you call to the world or your local Jewish chapter, whatever, what's going on in Israel in terms of the name with the sanction of the state against the people in Palestine. When you bring that to the attention, they say you're anti-Semitic.
That don't make no sense, you know.
Okay.
That's the crazy part.
I just
Noam
want
Chomsky.
I just
I
want to I just want to address a side note real quick, and it's something that just occurred to me. So you know how like, and of course you have a background in psychology, so correct me if I get anything wrong. But you know how like they say abuse people.
Absolutely.
Okay. So what if what we're looking at really is the Jewish people as a whole, as a group, that Ashkenazi Jew, because those were the ones
80% of all
that
Jews.
really was the ones who got the worst of it in World War II. So they literally were traumatized.
Yes.
Okay, as a group.
Yes.
So they're still a relatively new nation that hasn't had the opportunity to even fully address everything that's happened to them as a people. So just like abuse people, it's just that same thing on a macro scale.
Yeah, but see,
Not if you're telling me every
Yeah, but
year,
see-
don't forget what happened to us, but don't think
exactly
about what we're
Because they
doing
want
to them.
exactly.
No, so
That's
there's no way that
exactly,
you're traumatized.
exactly.
You want to make sure that all of us
Exactly.
don't never forget what happened to
Exactly.
you, so that it never happens to you again.
Exactly.
But yet here you are doing it to some other people. So no, that's bullshit.
Exactly.
You know, like that's like no.
I
I feel what you're saying.
I
but
don't
that's what
remove
they
the
say, you know.
responsibility of what they're doing.
You know,
That's not what I'm saying.
What
Yeah.
it is
Keep it
we're
up,
European, and this is what we do. That's what it is. We're Europeans, and this is what we do. They come from the barbarian Germans. That's where they come from. You're not from here. There's no way. You saying that you really are from there is me saying that black people are from Norway. Originally. You know, that's how I see that. You're telling me that you're from here where none but brown people, you know, but these white people know we were here too. No, you weren't. So that's like saying, okay, Africans were in Norway a long time ago too. That's where they belong. You know,
Well, you
Vikings were black.
We did get around like Tupac.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, but this was interesting, man. We've almost got to wrap it up.
Oh,
We got about 4
man.
minutes to go.
The whole, well, thank you all for enduring us. But the whole point of the whole conversation was to show that don't always accept for face value how it appears.
Right.
That's the lesson. That's the lesson.
And if you're so inclined to even say you support something, look into it.
If you like, I am 100% in agreement with the survival of those people and everything that happened.
Right,
you know.
absolutely.
And Hitler was a madman, and that was bad what they did to them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Make no mistake about it. You know.
Like we said, second worst tragedy in world history.
But don't turn around. Don't try to hold your. Don't try to place yourself in a moral position, and you're behaving this way towards these very same people.
Plus, there's been other people around the world that's gotten the same exact treatment and more of them.
But now, when I bring attention of the world to that, and it's on you, now we got to get God involved. Now
Right.
we got to get God involved. You against me now? That's a travesty against God. We on our land. You know what I mean? So see how because one thing is true, other things must be true.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that kind of fallacy. So I really hope they really consider, like, the next time you hear someone say they're anti-Semitic, no, they're being anti-Israel, not anti-Semitic.
Or at least let them explain to you that.
Exactly.
So when they say, no, I'm anti-Semitic, what do you mean? No, I don't like Jewish people. Now I know that
We got a problem.
Right.
Or is
Now
that
we got a
real?
problem.
We're not on the same page.
Or
No,
I
we
should
ain't on the
say,
same
I don't
page.
have a problem with Jewish people. I got a problem with Israel.
And I'm talking
Well,
about the way you're
Jew,
behaving.
but that's what they'll say when you have a problem with Israel. That is Jewish people.
It's
like,
the way
you
you're
know,
behaving.
Right. Yeah. Right.
But
right.
that's like saying somebody getting mad at you for saying I don't like that Russia invaded Ukraine. That's a power, a larger power beating up on a little guy. So you can say
Right.
I don't like this. This is not fair to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But just because you say that doesn't mean you hate like Russians or all Russian people.
Right.
You just don't agree with what the country's doing.
I would invite anyone to please just study the formation of Israel. And you have to ask yourself, where do I stand on this situation?
Yeah.
And let's have a conversation at the future date about that.
Yeah,
Let
Let's
us know-
revisit.
let us
Let's
know.
revisit
I guarantee,
that conversation.
I guarantee you, in the next few years, you're gonna see some stuff happen over there.
Yeah.
Some things gonna change one way or another.
Conversation. Right?
But thank y'all for joining us, y'all. We really do appreciate it. As always, if you want to check us out, hit up the website www.thedailysmoke.com. Or if you feel like donating, please use our Cash App, $TV Smoke. We really appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button and hit that share button as well.
Good job, Bobby did, man. Boy, Bobby, boy.
Black hand on the camera.
Brought in that video, man. He brought it back out.
We got 8 watching right now, but
You know?
only 4 likes. So 4 y'all need to hit that like
So
button.
you know, yeah, man.
You know, hit
But
like
yeah,
that.
Money.
And if
Good
you
job,
don't like
good
it,
job,
remember,
good
don't
job,
touch nothing.
man.
Just go away.
Good job. Good job.
But we do
Bobby.
appreciate y'all joining this
job.
conversation. Hopefully, we maybe spark some thought or some conversation for y'all. Let us know what you think. We always appreciate the feedback. I'm your boy, Brother Jam.
Brother Los.
Brother Ron.
Brother Black Hand.
Brother Black Hand on the cam. As always, we are the Daily Smoke. Thank you. We love y'all. We out.
Out.